Okay, friends, welcome back to my channel, or if you've never been here, welcome to my channel. My name is Teely, and as you can tell from the thumbnail or the title, today I'm going to do something that I've never done before. I am going to actually tell my sobriety story publicly, like in full length. I feel like I've shared my sobriety story in the past with people who may have asked or wondered why I don't drink. I haven't told this story before because I feel like I haven't had the authority to really speak on it, but the devil is a liar. I'm going to speak on it today, especially because I just hit a very significant milestone, and that is on July 11th, I actually celebrated 7 years sober, which is so crazy to even say out loud. I cannot believe I've not had a drink in 7 years. And it's kind of unbelievable because I would have never chosen this for myself. And if that sounds crazy, then you could probably infer that this is a story about God. Only God could get me to stop drinking. And if you know, you know. So if you don't want to hear about the Holy Spirit, go ahead and click somewhere else. But if you would like to know how God brought me to sobriety, stick around because we're about to get into it. I debated on how far back I wanted to take this, but if I'm being completely honest, like I said, I've been 7 years sober. So from that, you can probably deduce that my sobriety date is July 11th, 2019. But I feel like the story realistically starts back in 2017, near the end of 2016, quarter four. I had graduated grad school. I was having the time of my life. And I just started going through some very significant life changes. And I could feel the Holy Spirit telling me I'm about to change your life. And I would just be like, I'm good off that. I don't need my life changed. But some very significant things happened. Some very significant people in my life were being pulled out of my life. And I could, hear the Holy Spirit saying, I'm about to change your life. I'm about to change your life. And so I think in a rebellion to that, I didn't know what was coming, but I knew I just was satisfied with my life the way that it was, and I didn't want to change it. And so in my rebellion, I actually, in January 2017, I cut off all my hair. And anybody who would ask me, I would just tell them I just wanted to do something different. But in reality, I could feel something in my life about to change, and I didn't want it to happen. And so I just cut off all my hair because at the time, when you're young, 20 something, you want to have so much control. So I really wanted to have control over something, and I had control over my hair. So I cut off all my hair. I was going through some sad girl stuff, and God was basically like, are you done now? And I was like, yeah, I'm done. So 2018, I started letting my hair grow back out, and I actually started to go on some intermittent kind of fast. So I would go maybe weeks or months, periods of time where I wasn't drinking. I had never said I was going to give up drinking, but if you know me, if you know the family that I come from, alcohol in any amount is not, it was just not, alcohol, drugs, anything in any amount was not going to add to my life in any possible positive way. And so end of 2018, I had hooked back up with my now fiance. We were just dating at the time. By the time July came around, we had made it official April, and July came around, and I had just come off another alcohol fast. And so I was at a professional conference, and y'all know at professional conferences, they have open bar usually on the first night. This conference had an open bar on the first night. And so there was an open bar, and I had saw one of my good girlfriends from grad school who I hadn't seen since I graduated. And we hit that open bar hard. Turn down hard. And it was kind of lit. we drank out the bar. We left there. We hit another bar. This was in DC, and I'm from the area, so like we was hitting all the spots, and I got so plastered. Don't ask me how I made it home. I made it home. It was the first day of the conference, and it was a 3-day conference, and I was hungover for the entire 3 days of that conference. And by the end of those 3 days, I was like, there is no way that I should have been hungover for that long. And I am just not recovering like I used to when I was in like undergrad or grad school. And I was like, I'm going on another fast. So long story short, that fast, which was supposed to be, let's say, a month, turned into 3, turned into 6, turned into a year. And here I am now talking to you today, 7 years sober. And you know what's so crazy is that I knew it was coming. I knew that alcohol was not going to be a part of my life for the entirety of my life, but I just didn't know how it was going to come about, because I knew that the person that I was when I drank was not the person that I wanted to be. It didn't represent me well. The reason why I got into health and fitness was because I had a strong belief in longevity, and I also had a strong belief in self-awareness. And I knew that in order to encourage and inspire people to pursue their best, most healthy life, one of, I think, the main culprits that got in the way of people pursuing their best and most healthy life was self-destruction. And not to say that people were intentionally, or the people in my life, or even myself, were intentionally self-destructing, but I knew that drugs and alcohol could be agents of self-destruction. And so, it was kind of one of those things where it's just like, you got to be able to practice what you preach. And I knew that if I wanted people to really take what I was saying serious about fitness and, being my best self, that alcohol could not be a part of that. And, there were moments early on in my sobriety where I didn't know how it would make a difference to other people, or like if it were that big of a deal. But I do remember this one time being in the bar early on in my sobriety, maybe like I was just a couple months in. And when you're out at the bar and you're young and you're a pretty girl, not to sound like, full of myself, but people want you to have a drink. They want you to have something in your hand. And if you don't, they get a little suspicious. And so very early on, I was starting to learn that. And one of the moments I learned that, I was out at the bar, and this girl who I went to school with, who I hadn't seen in a long time, she was like, "Hey, how you doing?" I was like, "Oh, I'm good." And she was like, "Oh, you're not drinking?" And I was just like, "No." And she was like, "Really?" And I just started talking to her like, "Yeah, I think I'm on a fast, da 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 da." And then I had remembered something about her that she shared in a class in high school. I think it was something like what we wanted to be when we grew up. And she had mentioned a profession that I had never heard before. I think it was like, at the time, I had never heard of a speech pathologist. And she said she wanted to be a speech pathologist. And I was just like, "Are you doing that? Are you doing speech pathology?" And at the moment, she had put her cup down. She put her cup down, and we ended up talking for a significant amount of time that night. And long story short, by the time we left the bar, the Holy Spirit was kind of just telling me, even if people look at me and they don't stop drinking or choose to stop drinking or whatever, for that moment, she wasn't drinking. She had put her cup down. It had mattered for that moment. And that moment, wherever it goes, wherever it went, was enough to convince me, oh, this can be change. This could be life-changing, not just for other people, but for myself. And I appreciated that. And I want to say probably over the past several years, I have had people come to me, ask my advice, how'd you do it? How can I do it? How can I stop drinking? Like, what's the hardest part? And to be honest, it was more of a conviction than anything. It's not like something, like I said before, it's not something I really chose for myself. It's something the Holy Spirit chose for me. And I feel like in order to be successful, you have to have that humility and knowing that you cannot do it by yourself. Because in the beginning, did I want to drink? Heck yeah, I wanted to drink. Sometimes, even now, I still want to drink. But I think the discipline that I've been able to, I guess, develop over time has made it so that I don't really feel like I'm missing anything at this point. And people know that I don't really need to drink to have a good time. When I sat back and I thought about, like, okay, what is the alcohol doing for me? Is it making me more social? Why do I feel like I needed to be social? Why do I feel like I need it in order to talk to people or to feel comfortable or what have you? And I can tell you now, today, I don't feel like I need it for anything because I haven't had it. So, and I've been doing just fine without it. But to be honest, I've never really ever tried to directly influence anybody to stop drinking. And that's the crazy part. I've never gone up to somebody and been like, you need to stop drinking. Drinking is bad for you. Because it really, like, it all boils down to is like temptation. And, is this something that, like, why is that the thing that God asked me to give up? Because to be honest, I don't think everybody needs to give up alcohol. I think that was what I needed. That was my cross to bear. And I feel like if somebody wants to give up drinking or somebody wants to stop drinking, there's going to be a reason. There's going to be something behind it. It's going to be meaningful in some way. I think that's why I was asked to give it up. Which is why I kind of don't preach to people like, oh, give up alcohol. It's so bad for you. I was the type of person, if we're drinking, we are getting drunk. Like, get me to the Greek. Like, I am drinking. We're drinking to get drunk. We're not being cutesy. No, we are taking shots. And that was the problem. I was the problem. Hello, nice to meet you. I'm the problem. But yeah, I think if anybody who's watching this video feels like they want to give up drinking or they want to start their sobriety journey or they think that they should be sober or they're being called to be sober, it is not for nothing. I'm still reflecting on all the ways and all the reasons why this has been such a transformative journey for me. And it's because most recently, I've realized I had a type of reliance on alcohol that was unhealthy, but also like it wasn't part of who I wanted to be. I wanted to be somebody who people trusted my expertise when it came to health and fitness. And I just couldn't see myself being the trustworthy professional if I were participating in that type of, behavior. And that is not to talk about anybody who, is in health and fitness and decides to drink. This is my story. But again, like if I wanted to be in fitness and people see me out drinking, they're going to be like, girl, you don't know nothing. And I would have been like, you know what, you're right. Because again, I was not drinking in a cutesy, demure type of manner. I was letting them have it. Okay, I was getting it in. But I don't know. It's been so many benefits to not drinking alcohol. And I'm so fortunate to feel like I've reaped those benefits. Like so many opportunities I feel like I've gotten after just sharing my sobriety story. And a lot of those opportunities being people's trust, like people feeling like they can talk to me and I can be a reliable resource to them. That's all I ever wanted. And yeah, I'm so grateful. I really still can't believe it's been 7 whole years. I used to say to myself, I don't think that it will be really significant until I get to 10 years. But it was significant the moment I decided that this was going to be my journey. And I don't know, anybody who ever thought about, quitting alcohol or any type of anything really they feel like it's holding them back. Like there is a reason, like sit down, spend some time with yourself, spend some time in prayer and think about why that really is, because it's not for no reason. And I'm just so happy. I'm so happy. There's so many benefits when I go out to dinner or out to the bar or whatever. My fiance is my personal cupbearer. Especially when we're in environments where there's like a lot of alcohol flowing. In those environments, I usually won't even order a mocktail because I don't want people to mishear me and actually serve me a cocktail. So even like I still have him taste the drinks before I drink them because I don't want to accidentally, drink alcohol. So that's a huge benefit. And I still go through the, people are like, oh, you're not drinking? I'm like, no, I'm good. And then people will still go on like, you sure? Like, let me get you a drink, da, 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 da. And if my fiance doesn't step in for me, I will just finally say like, I don't drink. And they'll be like, oh, really? Like, how long? And when I hit them with the 7 years, they're like, oh. And that's usually when I tell people kind of like a truncated story version. But people do respect it now. And people do kind of look at you a little differently. I used to say that I was a recovering alcoholic, but that's not entirely true because I just wanted people to leave me alone. I wanted people to stop offering me drinks. But no, I do want people to know you don't have to be an alcoholic in order to decide to give up alcohol. And you know what's crazy? Like, being sober is like the cool thing to do now. All these reports coming out about how like Gen Z like doesn't drink, and it's just like, man, like I wish it was not, I wish it was cool back in 2019 when they was everybody was like, let me drive the boat. But anyways, that is my story. If you are sober and you want to share your story, drop it in the comments. Or if you need help, need prayer, need a word of encouragement, I hope you know that I am thinking of you and praying for you and hoping that if this is the journey that you are destined to go on, that you go on it with grace and courage and just enjoyment. I have gotten to the part of my journey where I'm really enjoying this, and I want other people to enjoy it too. But that's all I have for today. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video because there's always more to come.